Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aries energy, and for this series of 12 zodiac sign readings, I am using the Island Time Wellness Love Oracle, and we're going to clarify it with the Tarot, the 78 Doors, to fill out the story of what might be going on with Aries energy. And keep in mind that people can harness high vibe Aries energy or low vibe Aries energy, and we're going to kind of read it from both perspectives. And high vibe Aries people are people who are coming from a foundation of love, wanting to move their relationships forward from love and hope and faith and listening to their intuition. And they're emotionally bold and confident and brave, willing to end old cycles in their life to start new cycles. And people who are in low vibe Aries energy probably don't like to change, want to keep repeating the same old patterns of the past. They could be maybe kind of impulsive and immature, maybe a little forceful or controlling, and maybe they're people who don't want to be emotionally vulnerable, so they could be defensive, they could operate more from pride and ego, and that's why they can kind of be forceful and controlling. They could be someone who decides that they're just don't want to live from their listening to their emotions or their intuition, and they want to focus more on worldliness, about making their life and their decisions more based on image and status and money and materialism. And then there's just people who are in shadowy energy and they're just selfish and greedy. So we're kind of going to read it from both perspectives, probably, or how different people handle this. We have cassette, which is kind of about reminiscing or repeating past patterns of behavior, and coffin, the butterfly, wedding rings, self-indulgence, and photograph. And the reason for the reading is heart with a key. It's kind of like what holds the key to your heart. It just depends on what you value. Does the world hold your heart? Does ego and image hold your heart? Does money and materialism hold your heart? Is that what you're dedicated and committed to? Or is it love? So we could have some people that I would say you positive people are transforming. For one, you could be getting married, or you're aligning basically within yourself and following your hopes and dreams. And other people might want to transform a situation, depending on what they're aligned with. They might want to get married to someone because they want to indulge in the relationship. And I think that people who aren't coming from a foundation of love and they're self-defensive and they don't want to learn and grow, there are pride and ego and selfishness and greed. The whole point of their relationships is to indulge themselves. So the bottom of the deck is Heart with a Key and the Hierophant. Some of you specifically could be dealing with a Taurus, or the Hierophant Taurus energy does refer to our underlying philosophy of life that dictates all the decisions we make. So some of you, what holds the key to your heart is people who are loving, open, authentic, kind, hardworking, committed, loyal. And for the other people in shadowy Aries energy, what holds the key to their heart is having people look up to them. It's more about their image and their status and being surrounded by luxury in life, more about a worldly foundation. So with the cassette card, it says outdated thinking, conditioning, replaying events over in your head. And we have the World. And the reason is because of the King of Cups. So for some of you, you could have had a situation end that you could have had fond memories within. You thought people were going to learn and grow and mature, but the person you could have been in a relationship with is someone who presents himself as loving, as a King of Cups, but in the King's, that's about people taking action in the world and how they present themselves. You truly are someone who's a King of Cups, coming from loving home and family and self-love, Cancer, emotional water sign energy. But the person you could have been in a relationship with is someone who presents himself as loving, but when we present ourselves in the world, we really have no idea what's really hidden beneath the surface. And you could have found out that the person you were in a relationship with was someone who presents himself as loving, but in shadowy Aries energy, they're really not a person who is mature enough to make decisions that are best for everyone involved. They can present themselves as loving, but they might actually use their emotions in a relationship to kind of be emotionally manipulative, passive aggressive, maybe use their sexuality to move a relationship forward. But someone is ending a relationship. You're ending a relationship with people who present a facade, and you're ending the relationship out of self-love. And the people who prefer to live their life more based on a facade, because they want to repeat patterns of the past and they're more aligned with worldliness, those people ended a relationship with people who are loving because they kind of reject that aspect within themselves, coming from their emotions and believing they should make decisions in their life based on love and their intuition and following their hopes and dreams. Because they reject that within themselves, they end relationships with people who are like that in their life. Because they know if they were to stay in relationships with people like that, they'd have to, in the World card, be willing to close out some old cycles in their life. And they're not willing to do that. They like to repeat past patterns. They like to be about their image and their status and their pride and their ego. So then we have the Coffin card with the Lovers clarified by the Nine of Swords. So the Lovers card and the Nine of Swords are both Gemini energy, air sign energy of the mind. It's about, for one, the people who are kind of more worldly focused, they put an end to being in a love relationship with people who believe and give a lot of thought to coming from a foundation of love, because this person doesn't give a lot of thought to coming from a foundation of love. Gemini energy is a dualistic sign. So again, we can be aligned with love, or we can be aligned with worldliness, self-protectiveness, not wanting to be emotionally open. And, a relationship ended. A person was a choice in love. You viewed them as a choice in love. But if they're someone who's really stressed and anxious about coming from love, and they're fearful and afraid of being loving, the relationship had to end. And the other person maybe wanted to end the relationship with you because they want to be in a relationship and manifest their dreams into reality with people who are more aligned with their underlying philosophy of life. Wanting to be in a relationship with someone who's more geared towards being in a relationship based on money and image and status and not necessarily love. So then we have the Butterfly, and we have the Hermit, the Sun, the Knight of Cups, the Star, the Four of Wands, and the reason is because of the Two of Cups. Again, the Two of Cups is, who do we want to be aligned with? Who do we view as a counterpart who's aligned with our philosophy of life? You're transforming. You could be reminiscing about the past that you're willing to close out because you have learned the lessons you were meant to learn from that life experience, and you're willing to grow and learn and expand, step out of your comfort zone, willing to change. And the person you were maybe in a relationship with wasn't willing to do those things. They don't want to learn their lessons. In the Hermit, they don't want to go within to gain insight and wisdom. Instead, they go within and they hide the fact that they operate more in the Leo sun energy from pride and ego. And they offer their love to and their emotions to looking like a shining star in the 3D world. And that's the type of foundation that they operate from. And that's what they've aligned themselves with. Shadowy Aquarius energy is about, I want to look like a shining star in the 3D world. My image, my status, and being surrounded by luxury in life and putting in work and effort because those are the things that drive their life is what they're aligned with within their own foundation. And they might have a wish and a dream of being in a relationship with a soulmate who also offers their emotions to looking like a shining star in the 3D world. So they want to transform a relationship based on those reasons. Now you truly are transforming. You're transforming yourself. We either put in the work and energy to transform ourselves, or we look to go get in a relationship with other people, because I also kind of think people who aren't coming from a foundation of love and they're operating a little bit more from their shadow nature of pride and ego, they're kind of more codependent on people outside of them to make it look like their life is transformed. Because if they're not coming from a foundation of love, it's hard for them to grow and learn. Ever since we've been small children, we grow and transform from a foundation of love and being in environments that are loving and supportive and encouraging and supportive. And people who are more worldly focused are kind of disconnected from their emotions and their intuition. And they might operate more from pride and ego than self-love. So they don't really want to learn lessons and grow and mature. You have gone within in the Virgo Hermit. You did go within to gain insight and wisdom about a partner, someone again who could have been really stressed and anxious about love, fearful of trusting love, and you decided in the sun energy that, you trust the divine. You want to be in relationships where people are willing to be authentically themselves, people who are emotionally brave and confident, people who do listen to their intuition, people who do believe in life-giving energy of the sun, which is love. We shed light on things. We shed love and compassion and forgiveness in order to mature ourselves and grow ourselves and have equal give and take within our relationships, to have truth and justice in our relationships. And sadly, you realize the person you might have been working with is more about their pride, their ego, their status and image, and being in the spotlight and having everything be oriented around them. So you tapped into the divine, which is a free will choice we have every day, to choose to be in the energy of love. And you're offering your love to the future. You don't want to keep repeating patterns of the past. You want to follow your dreams, and you're seeing things from the bigger picture, and you're thinking outside the box, and you're someone who's willing to step outside of societal norms. And people who are very worldly based about status and image, they do have no interest in stepping outside of societal norms. They don't see things from the bigger picture. Maybe they don't believe in a higher power, that there's any higher purpose to life other than money and status and image and pride and ego. It's just all about looking like a shining star in the 3D world and maybe being the center of attention of any relationship they're in, that everybody's supposed to orient around them. And that's how their foundation works, but not yours. You come and aligned with love. The other people are kind of more aligned with themselves, the world, and self-protectionism. So with the wedding ring card here, we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Wands, and the Ace of Cups because of the Ten of Pentacles. So, the people right now who are harnessing more shadowy Aries worldly energy, those people are Seven of Pentacles people. And again, that's Taurus Hierophant energy. They work with what the world gives them to work with. They don't tap into maybe even believing that there's anything else to work with, to use to bring their dreams into reality, because all they might think there is to work with is what the world provides them. They maybe don't believe in listening to their intuition or that the divine has a plan for their life. And they want to invest in someone, either in the world or in someone who has a lot of worldly. 10 of Pentacles, the most that you can have in the world. Someone who they view as being, having either a certain image, a certain status, something that will boost their pride and ego or their wealth. You know, the 10 of Pentacles could even be someone who has things that the people in the world value. So that could even be looks, you know, say if somebody's really attractive, it's like, well, I don't have to learn and grow. Look at me, you know, male or female. I can find someone else who'll get in a relationship with me. And this person might want to invest in someone who has things that the world values: looks, money, status, image, reputation, luxuries, wealth. And they think if they invest in that, either in their own worldly nature, in building their own wealth, status, image, or another person, that that will make the fates go in their favor, basically. And they are going to maybe take some sexual action to get a new beginning in love with the Ace of Cups. The Knight of Wands can be like a player energy, and that can be using your sexuality. So they might approach someone in a trying to be charismatic and all of that stuff to get a new emotional beginning with someone they view very stable, abundant, wealthy. And what are you doing? You are in the Seven of Pentacles, aren't someone who just works with the world. You're someone who takes time and you're careful about what you invest in, because you do believe that there is a higher order and truth to life, and that we reap what we sow. You know, you do believe there's a higher order to life. These other people might not believe. They think they can kind of like cheat the system. Like, I don't have to listen to the divine. I don't have to follow a higher order, a higher truth. I can do it my way. Again, kind of being prideful and arrogant. I don't have to come from love. And they think they can probably still, you know, they can wear a mask. They can create an illusion of being loving and loyal, but get in a relationship for worldly reasons. And they think they're still going to reap the bounty of love, or with people who are loving, that they'll still get all the abundance that people get from planting loving seeds when they don't plant loving seeds. You know, they kind of plant more self-defensive, emotionally protective, fearful, insecure, jealous, envious, greedy, selfish, prideful, and they still think they're going to reap the rewards, and you know that's not true. So you're being careful about what you invest in. You want to go with the flow of the universe, basically trust the divine, not be stuck, not be stubborn, not be all about money and materialism. You're focused on like wanting true abundance and stability in your life based on a foundation of love. And you, in Sagittarius energy, are going to take action to fight for the things that you're passionate about. And that's about having hope and faith and belief in love and believing in your dreams. And Sagittarius energy is about looking at life as an adventure to be lived. You know, the other people who kind of operate from a more worldly nature kind of lack hope and faith and belief, and they think it's not about life being an adventure, it's about playing the game in order to look successful. High vibe Sagittarius energy are people who educate themselves about philosophy and belief systems so that they can wrap their brain around living above their more base nature of worldliness, to see life as an adventure to be lived, that we're on a soul journey to grow and learn and trust the divine. And it's all about removing layers of fear and insecurity and pride and ego, and getting to believe in ourselves that we are someone who can create our dreams into reality, that the divine made us that way. And some people don't believe that, and they just think they have the world to work with. And you're going to take some creative, inspired action to have a new beginning. The universe is saying, take this cup of love, invest in going with the flow of the universe, looking at life as an adventure to be lived, and take this cup of love to move forward in your life, to let go of the past, let go of your illusions about people in your past, your fear or insecurity, or how your pride or ego might have gotten dinged by dealing with some people in the past who wore a mask, who weren't loving, who were unkind, who were fearful, who were defensive, who might right now be going and getting in a different relationship because of those reasons, and move forward. And the universe is saying, you will have justice in your life. You will know what it is to be truly stable and abundant within yourself. And some of you might know someone who could be a Virgo, someone who's gone within to gain insight and wisdom about what the meaning of life is also, who also has a philosophy of life that underlies their decisions, and they're going with the flow of life and treating life as an adventure and willing to move forward in love. Or you're just aligning with that within yourself. And this other person could be also aligning with pride and ego, offering their love to their more shadowy Aquarius energy within their own foundation. And if they're not getting married, they're kind of like, you know, we all have a choice of what we align with. And this person could also be aligning with, no, I'm going to stick with my worldly philosophy of life, and I'm going to try to move, but that person really is going to try to move things forward by trying to get in a relationship to have that sense of stability or image or status that they want. So they, in the self-indulgence card, we have the Eight of Wands because of the moon. They are either going to take some swift action to communicate with the Pisces, or they're going to go indulge themselves in a relationship. Eight of Wands is Sagittarius energy. Just make sure it's not you. You know, you could be living parallel lives, and you could have someone who has a different underlying philosophy of life trying to communicate with you, because they might see you as someone who is stepping forward in your life, and you're going on a new path, and they want to go on the new path, but they don't want to go on the new path by themselves because they have fear and insecurity, is what the moon could talk about. And they like to get in relationships with other people who are moving forward, who are stepping outside their comfort zone to start something new and fresh, because the moon to me talks about people who are willing to step outside their comfort zone, because otherwise we would keep repeating patterns of the past. So just make sure you don't have somebody who's wearing a mask, who presents himself as loving, maybe because for some of those people, they could have repeated some patterns of the past, maybe with someone they viewed as loving, and that ended, and now there was an end to that love relationship, and now they're really stressed because they were hiding the fact that they operate from pride and ego. They had offered their love to someone that would have been like their dream relationship based on pride and ego and status and image. And they still want that. So they're wondering what to invest in now. And again, they don't invest in themselves to grow or learn or gain insight and wisdom about themselves. It's always to look out towards someone else that they can kind of latch on to, presenting themselves as loving to move them forward. And they are going to make an offer to someone that they view as very stable and abundant, and that could be you. So just make sure that if somebody comes towards you, they're not someone who just wants to indulge themselves in you, and they still are keeping things hidden beneath the surface. If you know this person and you know that there's things about their past, they're hoping that if they take action towards you and offer you new emotional beginning, that maybe would provide a lot of stability and security and, have all those worldly things that we want, would give you a certain status and image and look like you're very stable and abundant. They're maybe hoping that if they approach you with this new emotional beginning, that you'll be willing to indulge yourself in moving forward and presenting an illusion and keeping things hidden and letting this person keep things hidden. And I would think if you've lived enough life, you're like, no, with the photograph, I already have seen that you're someone who's very caught up in your head by fears and insecurities about aligning with love and hope and faith. And I've already seen that you have a very unstable foundation. And I think anybody who doesn't come from a foundation of offering themselves the love and compassion and encouragement to get themselves out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego, and so codependent on people outside of them, giving them gold stars for their sense of value and worth and emotional feelings of happiness, that person does operate from a very unstable foundation because they haven't learned how to nurture themselves and grow themselves and mature themselves. We're not children anymore where we're in a relationship and we want someone to mother and father us because we think we're incapable of doing it for ourselves. We're adults now. We should be able to be our own best mother, father, coach voice in our head, talk ourselves down from our low vibrational energies of, well, I want this and I'm greedy and lustful and selfish about that. I should just be able to do that. Like I'm an impulsive little kid, in the Aries energy shadowy of being a fool. I should be able to take impulsive, selfish risks towards whatever I'm inspired by. If I'm mad, if I'm angry, if I'm jealous, if I'm envious, if I'm lustful, if I'm happy, if I'm sad. We need people to have good boundaries within themselves, to grow up. We're no longer little children who are just supposed to be able to indulge ourselves, be in relationships, present ourselves as people who are loving and committed and dedicated, but we're so defensive to being emotionally, authentically ourselves and listening and connecting in with our emotions that we operate from pride and ego and defensiveness and selfishness and greed. Because if you're not being authentically yourself and believing you have an emotional foundation to withstand emotional storms in your life, you're kind of like a fearful, insecure child in a relationship. And for some of you, you've seen this in action before with the photograph. I would say that this person has a lot of fears and insecurities about letting go of their old foundational ways. We all get in relationships and we all sit within certain emotions because we think it provides us a sense of stability and security. And sometimes people sit in fearful emotions, insecure emotions, prideful, egotistical emotions. Why? Because as long as they sit in those, they don't have to do the hard work it takes to deal with and gain insight about why they operate from that type of foundation, and they don't have to move forward in their life. They don't have to learn or grow. And this person keeps staying in their unstable foundation of self, because you're either willing to do the work or you're not. You either work through your fears and insecurities that have you in a mental prison. Typically the Eight of Swords shows a person with all the swords of thought around them, and they're wearing a blindfold, like wanting to stay in denial and not deal with their fears and insecurities. We need to take each one of those swords down and look at it and say, who put this thought in my head? Is it Uncle Bob, Aunt Sally, Mom, Dad, someone when I was 8, someone when I was 15, someone when I was 25 that dinged my ego, made me feel bad, made me feel insecure? Well, who gives a rip what anyone outside of you thinks about you? The core of the matter is, what do you think about yourself? Do you think you are worth being treated with love and respect? Well, by golly, if no one else in the world is going to do it, you should give it to yourself. And these people haven't learned that yet. And also, they might be very codependent still on other people in their life, maybe their original family, a work group, a friend group, possibly. And we build those foundations because it gives us a sense of stability and security. If this person is still very codependent on other foundations in their life that they're unwilling to become independent of, maybe those foundations give them a sense, they're very codependent on them still for their sense of stability and groundedness or worth and value, or their emotional sense of stability. And if they're not willing to detach from those foundations yet because they're emotionally not ready, then they're emotionally not ready. That's okay. We all detach from those foundations when we're ready. But some people never, if they don't ever take responsibility for nurturing themselves and building up their own emotional foundation within themselves of knowing their own worth and value, so they're no longer so concerned about what people outside of them think of them, operating from pride and ego and image and status, they'd be willing to step in the spotlight of their own life because they do know their own worth and value. Let the world think away. If you're coming from a foundation of self-love, self-compassion, forgiveness, respect, and you offer that to other people, why would you be worried about what other people think of you? If people don't value and respect that, well, I don't know if I'd want to be in a relationship with them anyway. But this could be someone who's very unwilling to let go of those old foundations, or even the world and what the world thinks of them. So, if they're not coming towards you, they are going to go indulge themselves, maybe in a relationship with someone who is more aligned with their own foundational way of thinking. They want to be in a relationship so people will look up to them and admire them. And yeah, that can work in either relationship. Basically, for them, maybe just being in a relationship is like, oh, look at me, I'm in a relationship. I am now more worthy and more valuable, they may think. Again, they live in illusion. So, for others of them, they might want to go indulge themselves in whoever, maybe an Aquarius energy, someone who's shining bright, someone who seems to be moving forward. Maybe someone else who lives in the same illusion that they do, that life is about money and materialism and status and image. But when this person goes to communicate with them, they are looking at it. It is about looking at it as an investment for their status, image, money, stability, security. And they could be moving towards that person because they have fears. They could have fears that if they don't, people will view them as very unstable. Sometimes people really have a fear of being single because they think it says something about their worth and value. Well, that would be somebody who doesn't know their worth and value. Because if you knew your worth and value, we've all been single for periods of time or great lengths of time in our life, and it just means you haven't met the right person. But some people are so worried about their image and whatever that, oh my gosh, I don't want people to view me as being unstable or because I'm not in a relationship, that they'll go get in any relationship practically in order to look like they're moving forward in their life and they're a shining star, even if the whole reason they're getting into the relationship is because of fears and insecurities and emotions that they're hiding and keeping secret and hidden beneath the surface. Whatever relationship, someone in shadowy energy, whatever relationship they get into, they do want to keep, for one, they want to keep their emotions hidden beneath the surface. They don't like to look at their emotions and the things they keep hidden beneath the surface. They like them right hidden under there. And they also are people who like to create illusions about their life. And by getting in a relationship where you know you're investing in it because you're a player and you either just want to have intimacy with someone to look like you're stable and abundant, or getting in a relationship with someone who looks very valuable according to worldly standards in whatever way, this person wants to go indulge himself with that person and take some creative sexual action towards them and create an illusion, continue the illusion that they live in life, because the moon talks about people do this because they're not seeing things clearly. There's still things hidden that they want to be in denial about. There's still things hidden beneath the surface, maybe even of their subconscious. They could purposely like to live their life in illusion. They like to be a player. They like to self-indulge themselves, and they consciously know they're doing that. It's all an illusion. It's just the whole fact that they want to invest in people for their own purposes, but they don't want to be open and honest and emotionally vulnerable. And it's all an illusion and it's all purposeful. For other people, it's because they don't realize that they're even living an illusion. They don't see that there's more to life than this, or that there's reasons why they indulge themselves in these type of relationships about maybe image and status and pride and ego. They don't realize what's driving them to be in those relationships. For some of them, there's things buried beneath the surface of their awareness that have not bubbled up to the surface yet. And maybe if those people go in there, the universe is trying to show them you keep repeating past patterns of the past because you have fears and insecurities about love. Maybe because you dealt with some people in your past that weren't loving, weren't kind, were emotionally manipulative, they hurt you, and they kind of destabilized your foundation, and you haven't realized that you don't have to keep getting in relationships with people for your pride, your ego, your status and image, or to make you look valuable. You have to realize that you have the power to stabilize your own foundation. But as long as people don't realize that and offer themselves the love and compassion they need, they're going to keep chasing relationships because they think people outside of them are going, that's the answer. They think the answer lies outside of them and the answer lies inside of them. If you keep thinking the key to your heart is in someone outside of you who seems maybe like a boss or authoritative, or people who have what you don't have and you look up to them and you think that that's the key, is for you to align yourself with them. But if those people are more aligned with worldliness and status and image and money and materialism, and they're stubborn and they're prideful and they're maybe emotionally manipulative and passive aggressive, you are always going to end up feeling in a mental prison and feeling unstable because you're not willing to see the truth. Some people could align their perception of love because of the people they grew up with were like this, and they're very emotionally connected to that. They're not willing to see the truth about those people, that those people always have me in a mental prison and make me feel destabilized. But if they're not willing to see the truth about the people from their past that they associate with love, they're always going to keep getting in relationships with people like that, because they're they have just haven't taken responsibility for their own life. So some of you, though, might have a new beginning, maybe with a Virgo. And the Eight of Wands can talk about moving forward, communication, taking action. Maybe as you move forward, kind of indulging yourself in this new emotional beginning, you're taking creative, inspired beginning, and you're emotionally both indulging in love, per se, to move forward and discovering, willing to move forward and needless as we move forward into unknown territory. Fears and insecurities might bubble to the surface because it is unknown, new territory. But if people are willing to, maybe out of self-love, you call self-indulgence, take creative, inspired action towards the fears and insecurities that bubble up, so that we keep moving forward in a positive, creative, inspired way, instead of letting our fears or insecurities that bubble up stop us and prevent us from moving forward. And as we go forward, let's see, photograph, looking at your photos, missing you, nostalgia, making new memories. Maybe for any past people of your life, as they see you moving forward, for them it will be destabilizing, but you have gotten in a relationship with someone who's more aligned with your foundation of life. And maybe for the people who keep repeating patterns of the past, as you move forward in your life and you're being brave and confident within yourself or in a new relationship, the other people will see this. They'll, hopefully you're a shining light to other people in the world and you inspire other people. Are you going to keep staying in fear and insecurity about letting go of the past? Or are you going to keep clinging to the past? It inspires other people to maybe decide to let go of their old foundational alignment and maybe let that go and do the work within themselves. Doesn't mean you're going to be in a relationship with them, and for some of you, maybe somebody will come talk to you and you'll communicate about what was hidden. They might have thought they wanted to indulge in you, and you're like, no, I've taken creative, inspired action about my past. I know how you were in the past. And unless you're willing to align with love and deal with your fears and insecurities, to let go of your old foundations, you're not interested in being in a relationship with them. So I think some people are repeating past patterns of worldliness. They're going to go present themselves as loving to someone they view as a love option because they have a lot of stress and anxiety. That relationship could have ended before, or if there was someone in their life that they want to be in a relationship with that they're nostalgic about, if the other person they want to be in a relationship with experienced an ending in a love connection, this person is going to go communicate with them or anybody in the world. Some people in their shadowy energy could kind of like prey on anybody who's experienced an ending in a love connection that they think might be stressed about moving forward in their life. And people who are in shadowy energy is like, perfect, I don't want to grow or learn either. Are you in fear and insecurity? Let me go get in a relationship with you. I will hide the fact that I'm getting in the relationship with you from pride and ego, and I'll make you an offer to move forward in a relationship, giving you the impression that we're soulmates, but it's really about this person looking like a shining star in the world. They might invest in a relationship or a marriage in order to move forward with their player ways of offering love to people in exchange for you give me status, you give me image, you give me a sense of stability and security, you give me money or materialism, and I will offer my emotions to you to the extent that this is working for me, for my pride, my ego, and image. And they will indulge themselves in moving forward with this illusion. And I don't know, this photograph card is kind of interesting, right? I guess hiding the fact that they don't want people to catch a glimpse, maybe, of the fact that this person actually operates from being in a mental prison, fearful and afraid that maybe the relationship will end, fearful about people wanting to learn or grow, fearful that the person they're in a relationship might actually align with a higher truth, and the divine, in a sense, could get the key to their heart, and that this relationship will fall down and this person still won't be willing to move forward. It's like a fear of this person every time they get in a relationship. If they're in shadowy energy, they don't want the people they're in a relationship with to let the divine and love be the driving motivator in their life, because it's not the driving motivation in shadowy people's foundation. They want to be in a relationship, and they want the people they're in a relationship with to be more concerned about pride, ego, image, status, make the relationship more about putting in work and effort to be surrounded about luxury in life than from love. And this person will always be fearful and insecure that the relationship could end, at which point they can become very stubborn, very controlling, in order to try to keep other people from transforming. I think you positive people have put to rest people who are high vibe Aries energy now, willing to take bold, confident action in their life. They're balanced within themselves. They have an emotional foundation within them, a solid foundation within themselves. Those people are letting go of the past to transform their life, going within, being in life giving energy, offering love to the future, seeing things from the bigger picture. And that is the foundation within themselves that they operate from, because they're aligned and balanced within themselves and aligned with love. Maybe some people previously kind of had been in a more shadowy energy. Some of those people right now could be transforming, and they want to invest in going forward in their life. They have learned the lessons they were meant to learn, because we all repeat patterns of the past till we learn our lessons. There could be some people in the past who felt the key to their heart was worldliness, was people who had a certain status or image, and again, those issues of the past. Some of those people now have learned their lessons, and they want to move forward, treat life as an adventure, come from love, and they might communicate, make an offer of love to even their original foundation family, or whoever the various foundations in their life are. It could be to all of them, that they are communicating how previously they did self-indulge and took impulsive action because of things that were driving them that they hadn't understood, and they weren't seeing things clearly because either, we can't see what we can't see. It's just like when you were growing up, or if you knew other people that kind of kept getting in relationships with people, that weren't good for them. And until they finally rise up and say, oh my gosh, I know everybody's been telling me, why do you keep going out with people like this? And you keep justifying yourself because, you can't see what you can't see. And when you finally rise up and say, I deserve better than this, I deserve to not be with people who are disrespectful, who are not loving, who are unkind, who are selfish, who are greedy, who are egotistical and prideful. Until you realize your own self-worth and you deserve better, you keep kind of being in relationships because the universe is like, oh, you don't believe in yourself yet? Oh, you don't know your own worth and value? Okay, we'll get you in a relationship with someone who is going to try to teach you to see the truth. If you haven't seen the truth on your own or willing to put in time, energy, and effort to self-reflect and work through your own fears and insecurities, and you think you can solve it by getting in a relationship and thinking you don't have to deal with it, or you're just in denial, we'll give you a relationship that'll keep trying to show you, yeah, this person's unloving. Yeah, this person's not very kind. Yeah, this person lacks empathy and compassion. They're not very supportive and encouraging. They're kind of all about themselves until you finally say, I deserve better than this. Some people could be coming to the realization and they could be communicating to people that they self-indulge because of things they weren't seeing clearly. And now it's kind of like emblazed in their mind that people who cause us fear, insecurity, and basically people who are selfish and greedy, it's kind of like they could care less if you leave, which makes us fearful about love, or they actually want you to be in fear and insecurity so that you'll keep staying in a relationship with them. And maybe some of those people, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I've seen it clearly now. The people who are unloving, unkind are people who have a lot of fear and insecurity and are very unstable. And we don't want to be in relationships with those people because it just causes us fear and insecurity and instability. And also, maybe this person has clearly seen how the fears and insecurities that were driving them cause them to detach from foundations that were offering them love and stability, that they could have long term with people who are committed and loyal to them, because they basically rejected that within themselves. Maybe they felt unworthy. So we have the positive people, the negative people, and we have the people who've learned lessons. Either way, some people are going to try to transform a relationship and maybe get in a marriage because they're very unstable. They want stability and security in their life. They're creating an illusion. Other people have transformed themselves and they're either aligning with themselves or maybe they want to reconcile with someone. Either way, you'll see shortly, it looks like, what is Aries energy that's within inside everyone. What are they aligning with? It looks like people are aligning with one or the other right now. The shadowy people are indulging in repeating patterns of the past. The positive people are aligning with love and creativity and being brave and confident because they've seen the truth. A random flip of the quote calendar says, work joyfully and peacefully, knowing that right thoughts and right efforts will inevitably bring about the right results. May 31. Fives can be about conflict or change. 3 and 1 kind of makes me think of what foundation are we operating from? Are we operating from a stable, grounded foundation and truth? Or do we operate from a foundation of pain and heartbreak, and we get ideas of how we think we can solve our problem by not seeing the truth? So there you go, Aries energy. I wish you all peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.